Welcome back, everyone. AJ and myself back for another podcast. How you doing, AJ?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Yourself?
Yes, very well, thank you.
And dedicating this podcast to
the Alien franchise.
There we go. Aliens.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'd say Alien Romulus has just come out. You've seen the film yourself, and your review is up.
Yep. Yeah. Spoiler and non starts off non-spoiler, and at a certain point I announce it goes into spoilery territory.
Yes. So yeah, if you haven't checked out that video and you're interested in seeing the film, yeah, obviously go and have a look at AJ's review. Maybe stop at the non-spoiler bit, go away, watch it, come back, and carry on.
Yeah, we won't touch upon any spoilers of the film here in this chat today, because obviously Matt's is still yet to go and see it.
Yes.
So even though we might have a little conversation about the film, and that I won't mention anything that will spoil anything for you.
Yeah.
So yes, that's in my review.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically we're going to sort of have a chat about all of the films. Maybe talk a bit about the sort of offshoots, Alien v Predator.
Yeah.
As well, anything aliens. So
yeah.
So
okay,
yeah. Going to shoot off. So we'll just roll the intro, and then we're back in a second.
See you in a minute.
Oh, welcome back.
Oh, sorry, I stood up.
That's all right. So yeah, the Alien franchise is what we're going to be chatting about today, and you may well be able to see I've got all my Alien films here. Face hugger box. We might have a quick look at that later in the discussion. And I noticed you got a few Alien bits in the background there as well.
Yeah, I just stuck a few of my collectibles up on that shelf there. Obviously, I've done videos for them as well the other day. Yesterday.
You have?
Yes. Yeah. I've got quite a few collectibles associated to Aliens and Alien versus Predator. It's a franchise that I love, and I love talking about.
Absolutely.
Even for its worst bits, it's a franchise that I love. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, and me as well. Ever since seeing the first Alien film, and my probably first experience, obviously it was 1979. I was too young to go to the cinema to see it.
Mm-hmm.
It must have probably been in the late 80s, early 90s, probably when I first saw it. Possibly actually when I bought that face hugger set, which would probably have been in the 90s. Can you remember when you watched the first Alien film?
Yes, I remember quite distinctly my first experience with. Well, it was with Aliens. Now, because I was born in 76, so I was way too young. Obviously, I'd just been birthed myself. I was a few years old when that first film came out. And even I was too young for Aliens, but with Aliens, what happened was, I was in secondary school. I think I was in the second year of secondary school, so that would put it at about. I started secondary school at 87, so 88 or 89. This was, and we started watching Aliens in history class. History teacher put it on. Obviously, back in these days, no one cared about age ratings of films in school and all this sort of thing. They had wheel the old TV in with the VHS player, and was watching Aliens. And now Aliens is quite a long film. And yeah, we watched it, and we only watched so far. And I know my history teacher didn't have it. I think he rented it, so it was out for rental at this point, and he had to go back. But I said to him, "Oh, I've got a copy of it at home, or my brother's got a copy of it at home." So I took this copy in, which I hadn't watched. Obviously, it was a pirate copy, but the beginning of the film wasn't there. It was like a boxing match. There was a boxing on it.
Okay.
And we went through the boxing, then the film, the boxing had overridden the film, but the film was on there from a certain point. So we started watching it from that certain point in history class. And that was kind of like my first foray into Aliens. In hindsight, that was a very that whole experience could have gone a whole lot different, because I'm going to step into a bit of sort of well, let's say that the geezer at the video store, who we knew, he was a neighbour of ours actually. He used to make quite a bit of money on selling adult art entertainment films, shall we say, right?
Okay.
And it wasn't out of the realm of possibility that he would give people films, and when that film ended and you get the old that an adult film would, or the end film would come up. So take that into the school setting. I think in hindsight, I'm quite sort of it's like a nightmare situation. It's like how close that was to happening, given what I knew after and what I'd found on some other tapes after. So yeah, so after that experience with Aliens, which I loved, obviously I then went and got Alien. I think I bought Alien actually from WH Smith's on, not WH Smith's, from Woolworths on VHS. And loved the franchise ever since. And I remember I used to have a geezer in school, a mate in school, who was a big fan of Sigourney Weaver. He had this huge crush on Sigourney Weaver, and he loved the Aliens franchise. And he was really good with role play games, creating his own role play games. And we would sit in class, and he would have like a drawn out map of like a facility, and your characters running around it on this bit of paper, and different things would happen. So we would sit at the back of, generally it was French class, and we would play this game. We'd be all huddled around this table, about 4 of us, playing this Aliens game that he kind of created. And it was it was really good. And also, just to elaborate on that, at this time period, you're talking about the late 1980s, Dark Horse Comics had just begun the Aliens and Predator comic books. They'd got the rights to them. And I remember picking up those early issues up in Forbidden Planet in London of the early Aliens comics, which were in black and white, done by Dark Horse. Lovely covers. I've still got them. Predator was in colour, but the first Aliens was black and white. And you had Hicks. You had Hicks in it, and Newt was still there, and characters like that, because Alien 3 hadn't been made yet. So those characters hadn't been killed off. So in the comics, they were still there. And it just, like, what I mean? It was the right time for me. It was the right time. I was at that age where, these films were violent. I was watching 18 rated films. Do you know what I mean? It all culminated. It's just really captured the imagination. Sorry, I rambled on then, didn't I?
No,
but it's a story to be told.
Nice to have a retrospective sort of, of how you got into it.
I remember it was a very sort of prolific time for film, for me, for comic books, for, do you know what I mean? It all came together at the same time. It was great. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, I don't know whether I saw some of Alien on the television at the time. It must have been it's got to be within the 90s.
Yeah,
Because obviously this set here, obviously this is the face hugger set.
yes,
That was pretty much done on the back of the release of Alien 3, wasn't it?
that's right. Yeah, because
Because
I used to have that set myself. I bought that when it first came out. I think that was about 80 quid when it first came out.
it wasn't cheap.
Um,
I
no,
managed to get this reduced because it came with the book. It's a booklet. I mean, I haven't got
yeah,
the
but
booklet in here, it's upstairs, but
you got
came
art
with the book.
card. You had a few art cards with it, did you not? As
Yes,
well,
brilliant.
you got the
Yeah,
free
like modern.
badges. The free badges that are sat in there,
Yeah.
one for each film.
Unfortunately, I've only got one of the badges now. I've lost the two of the badges over time.
Yeah.
But it also came with a T-shirt, which I think was an Alien 3 T-shirt, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was a. I remember because I did wonder when you first showed that ages ago. When you first well, I did wonder if I still had the T-shirt because
Right.
up until some time ago, I would have still had that T-shirt. And what it was a black T-shirt. It had Alien Trilogy written on it in white there,
Okay.
and then you had three images, like circular images. So you had, I think it was the egg there. Then
Yeah.
you had the blue with the alien in it, and the third image going down was the curled up
Yes.
alien from Alien 3. So it was like, yeah, so it was like title there, and then 1, 2, 3 circular images going down. It was a good T-shirt. It was nice thick material as well.
Yeah, because this didn't contain the T-shirt. I remember I got it from WH Smith,
Yeah,
and they reduced it because somehow the T-shirt got lost. I can't remember how much it was. I do remember at the time I obviously got like a part-time job and had saved up the money to get this because it
yeah.
wasn't cheap. I
No, it
think
wasn't. It
I
wasn't.
think it probably was about 50, 60 pounds, even sort of reduced because of the T-shirt not being in it. But
Yeah,
it was obviously the VHSs.
that's right. And you got a making of Alien 3 VHS in there as well, haven't you?
You have, yeah.
Which is
So
probably
you've
about
got
20 minutes long or something, or 25
that's
minutes.
right, yeah, that's there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
Exactly.
remember it well. But when I started with DVD, I offloaded all my VHSs. I had the was it the Excelsior? Not the Excelsior, the Executor Star Wars box tin. It was that I had. There was a Dances with Wolves one, which had the soundtrack in it.
Yeah.
Terminator 2 one, the metal tin with a big T2 written on the front. And I just got rid of all of it. I got rid of all that. I wasn't sorry to see the back of VHS.
No.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the VHS experience. I miss the going and renting from a shop. I miss that
Yeah.
experience. Don't miss the format. So yeah.
No.
But
No, but it wasn't the best with the tracking lines and the deterioration of the tape as you rewatched it.
That's right.
I mean, I still have probably, I don't know, 10 to 15 VHSs in my collection, maybe more, maybe about 20 actually. And that's more for nostalgia purposes,
Yeah.
of my early days of collecting.
I think
But yeah,
I
I
think my
wouldn't.
first Alien 3 was actually a VHS X rental.
Yeah.
Large box.
Mm.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's was in this set was this. Do you remember this?
I do.
Alien War.
London
Now,
Trocadero, and there was one. I think there was one, mate. Was it Glasgow? I think it may have opened one in Glasgow or Edinburgh, somewhere like that.
so did you actually go to Alien War?
I went to Alien War 3 or 4 times.
Right.
Because I would go up into central London every week.
Yeah.
Every week was a London trip because of the comic shops. Me and a mate of mine would go up on comic day, and and obviously, what was Alien 3? Alien 3 was 93, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If I'm remembering rightly. And
So, yeah.
93 was so Alien War would have been about 94.
Yeah.
A year later or so when that came out to sale, and that box set 94 going into 95.
Yeah.
And yeah, London's Trocadero, we'd pass by it every week. So yeah, we'd done Alien War 3 or 4 times. It was a good experience. It was you know, it was like I remember you queued up outside and you had people there in like marine garb
Cosplay.
with their guns and that, and
Yeah.
you'd go in as a group of probably about 8 people, and when you go in, it's like you're on the set of Aliens, like in one of the complexes, the Weyland-Yutani Aliens complex.
Okay.
Metal flooring, the stairs going down, very dark, you know, strobe lighting.
On different levels then?
No, it was mostly on one level, but
okay.
You had bits where there's maybe 4 or 5 steps down, not massive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a bit where you go into a lift. Not that the lift moves; it doesn't move. It gives the impression of movement, but it doesn't move. And you know, you'd have all the sound effects. You'd have like the motion detector, so everything from the film Aliens. You'd have so you knew when something was coming because you'd hear it. You'd hear it on the motion detector, and they would huddle you into a corner or down this passage where it's complete pitch black at the end and you can't see nothing. And then the lights would go out. And then you'd have flashing lights. It's when the alien appeared. And obviously the flashing lights, you don't get the opportunity to see the alien in full. You know, it had the head. Your mind fills in the blanks, but when you see it for real, it's just a geezer in a black leotard with this thing on his head and a couple of hands and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in the darkness, it really worked, and you were scared. And the scene in the lift, the bit where you get into the lift, someone gets dragged out. They open the lift door, and there's an alien on the other side of the lift door. And so what happens is the Marine who's taken you in is struggling to get the door open, and then calls for help, says, "You come and help me." And one of the people that's gone in with you is helping. And when the lift door opens, that person, alien, lunges in, grabs that person and drags the person out. But the person that's dragged out is a plant, you know?
Yeah.
Because of everything that's going on, the tension and all that, what you don't realize is that when you go into the lift, that there's an additional person in there who gets in with you, basically, you know, because there's, like I said, it's a group of 8. You don't count that there's a 9th person. Do you know what I mean? You're more focused on everything else that's going on. So it's that person that opens the door and gets dragged out. It went on for you're in there for about 15 minutes or something like that. But it was really good. It was really good. So we done it, 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And then I think what happened was it flooded out. It got flooded out. It closed down. They said they were going to come back, but never did. And I don't know if it was because of rent and they owed money, and I don't know. Do you know what I mean? There was a bit of sort of there was some questions that that suggested other things. Yeah, which is a shame.
Do you think it was more of an independent company that was doing it? Maybe, I guess they would have had to have spoken to 20th Century Studios.
Yeah,
they would have been 20th Century Fox back then, wouldn't it?
Yes, I know that they're still, the people that done it are still active, and they were looking at, a couple of years ago, they were looking at doing a new one, which was, they were going to do an Alien and Predator one, and it was going to be set in the woods. So you go and do it in a wooded area, as opposed to in a rented place. I don't know if it ever came to pass or not. I don't know. But the only reason that I found that out is because obviously, as you know, I've got that full size alien head that came from, I didn't know it came from Alien War when I got it, but it ended up coming from Alien War. And I was speaking to the people that that worked there and created it, and the geezer that molded the alien head and all that sort of stuff, and they were looking at putting together a new one.
And that head was taken from a cast from the actual film production, was it?
Apparently so, yes. That's what they said. Yeah, that's what I was told by the geezer who it was cast from the actual molds from Aliens. Yeah.
Yeah. It just amazes me, these. I mean, there must be warehouses. I mean, I'm not just talking about the Alien films, but warehouses full of all of these props from all of these different franchises and films. And why not just have these exhibitions and like you're saying, this sort of alien war that people could go to? They would make an absolute fortune, wouldn't they? Because people love interactive stuff. They'd love to see all the props on display, and it just amazes me that there's not more of that kind of thing with films. It seems to be pop up every now and again, but
yeah,
more of a permanent thing. Where you could, something like Disney, they could create like a whole, almost like a theme park with different, exhibitions, and you could go and see Star Wars there, Aliens there, Marvel. I mean, I know they've got the sort of stuff in Florida, but I'm talking about more props and costumes and all this kind of thing.
No,
maybe they will do it in the future. I don't know,
but they should do. You'd think that they, I mean, I think when they made Alien Resurrection, the actual alien head from that, I believe, is the alien head that was used in Aliens. They just happened to come across it. They found it in some warehouse.
Yeah.
It's obviously like Indiana Jones style, isn't it? It's a massive warehouse where all this stuff's stored. They don't know where none of it is.
No, that's right. Yeah.
And they come across and they find it.
Yeah. Well, I've heard stories like back in the day, sort of with the Bond films, where do you remember the submarine, the White Lotus that went under the water?
Yeah.
They had about 5 of those, and they found one like rusting in some sort of tip somewhere. You just think, oh, all of these props from these films, rather than just sitting in a warehouse gathering dust, why not have them on display for us fans? Because they'd make loads of money out of it, because people would want to go and see these things.
I'm sure they would. There we go.
There we go. Anyway, that's getting off topic. So yeah. So okay. So the first Alien film, then. Let's talk a little bit about the transfers, sort of the first 2 Alien films. Alien 4K. You've got that, haven't you? What do you think?
I have. Yeah, I recently done a revisit of all the. Well, I say all the Alien films. I've done a revisit of the 2 Alien versus Predator films and the 4 original Alien films.
Right.
Yeah, the Alien 4K transfer is great. It's a fantastic transfer. Nothing I can say beyond that. It looks great.
Yeah, and I think that was actually done before the Disney merger. I think it was one of the last Fox titles.
Yeah,
so the original Fox team were involved in that. And yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I was blown away with the picture quality. It's the best it's ever looked and sounded. Retains a lot of the, that picture grain that a lot of film enthusiasts love. But yeah, totally agree. It's yes. Have you got the art cards that came with that as well?
Yeah, I've got. Yeah,
some nice few little cards with that one.
And also I've got a little Weyland-Yutani patch in there.
Yes.
I don't know where that came from though. I've no idea where that came from.
It's a nice design.
I put these things into these sets. When I have little things like that, I just stick them to a DVD set.
Yeah. quite an iconic design, that, isn't it? With the W in yellow, and really, really stands out.
Yeah, the W in yellow, and you got the Y behind it in white.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
very
which
good, very clever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I've got this wonderful edition, Film Arena.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Embossed.
I am quite gutted that I missed out on the steelbook of Alien, the one with the egg on it, which goes for quite a bit of money. But
Yes, yeah. I mean, this one, it's not complete because it doesn't come with the steelbook, the original release. But I have popped in the steelbook, which was the UK Blu-ray. And
yeah,
I popped the 4K in that one with those art cards. So that's probably one of my. I was very lucky to get hold of that because that goes for crazy money on eBay.
yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, really, really pleased with the 4K of Alien.
Yeah,
Now,
it's a great transfer.
yes. So now on to Aliens 4K.
Yeah, so this is the divisive one.
It is. And for me recently, I didn't pick it up on the initial release. I waited for a bit of a discount. I mean, I was kind of hoping that a steelbook would come along, and I'm sure one will eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe we're probably a couple of years away from the 40th or 45th anniversary of the film.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll take the opportunity to do something.
Yeah,
because they're milking the collectors for everything they've got anyway, over and over.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
but yeah, I mean, literally as recently as last Sunday, as of recording this video, I purchased the film, got it on a good discount, and yeah, I watched it and I've reviewed it. And again, if you haven't checked out my review, please go and check that out. There's a lot of comments on that video, which there's quite a lot of. It's a very you either love it or you hate it. There's no sort of in between. I don't feel with this.
So you loved it. You thought it was good, didn't you?
Absolutely, I thought it was. I was seeing detail that I'd never seen before, and I was really, I mean, it was almost like watching the film for the first time again for me. I absolutely loved it, and I hadn't seen Aliens for some years, so it was bits of it were still a bit hazy in my memory. The overall film, obviously, I've seen many times, but it just I was really impressed with what I saw. But I know a lot of people are not happy with it at all.
See, now I'm inclined. I agree with you. I really like the copy of it. I had no issue with it. I see. The thing is, it's not like, I know people hate it, but it's not like it's overridden the older copy. You've still got the older copy that they can visit anyway. Do you know what I mean? So just ignore the new one and what is it? Now, for me, do I think that the new copy detracts from the film? Yes, I do. I do think it detracts from the movie, in the sense that if it was the first time watching the film, if someone come to me and said, "Oh, can I borrow Aliens or whatever, or I want to watch Aliens," I would probably I'd put on the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Right. Reason being is because obviously you were never meant to see what you can see in the 4K. The details. You're never meant to see that stuff that crisp. And the fact that you can see everything, yes, I can see that it detracts from the overall atmosphere of the movie.
Yeah.
Okay? The stuff totally isn't shrouded in darkness. So I get that argument. I totally, and I agree 100%. But, I know the Alien films. I know Aliens, and I know most of the Alien films back to front. Okay,
Yeah.
you know, they're often there's revisits of them quite often. And I think Aliens, and Alien 3, I've probably watched last year. I've watched this year. You know, so for me, the best way I can describe the Alien transfer is that it's a fantastic addition to the Blu-ray.
Yes.
I think that,
isn't it?
yes, because when I watched it, yes, I was watching. I enjoyed the film. I love the film, but I could appreciate a lot more of the filmmaking in the sense of the sets and the designs and
Yes.
the intricate details that went into things that you were never meant to see anyway, but they're there, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I liked it for that reason. I thought it was great, but as atmosphere, being able to see everything, yeah, it does detract from the overall atmosphere of the film. But that's not me being negative about the transfer. I really liked what I saw.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, there's room for both. There's room for both. It's not a horrendous transfer in the sense that, you know, I felt
Not
that,
like T2.
yeah, or True Lies. T2s I've not watched for a long, long time, but True Lies comes to mind because of the Tom Arnold's face looking so waxy and fake, and
Yeah.
you can see the lipstick that he's got on, that they've put on him. And do you know what I mean? You haven't got that issue with this. I didn't feel that it stands out as a horrendous, like, oh, look what they've done there. It looks waxy. It looks, you know, I think it stands as a great kind of, you know, if you're that into Aliens and you're interested in the filmmaking process and those finer intricate details, the 4K is the way to go. After experiencing the film in a more atmospheric manner.
Yes. Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I think they're two very different experiences. I mean, I think I will revisit the Blu-ray maybe in a couple of months' time, just to sort of refresh myself with that, just to see the difference between the two. Because, yeah, I mean, I've read a lot of the comments and seen other videos about people talking about this, and even recently, I think as of this week, there's been James Cameron has actually reacted to a lot of this, and basically sort of turned around and said that people need to get a life. You know, that they're over analysing everything, and you know the way the restoration took place. He's got a team of people. He supervised frame by frame, etc. You know, and I mean, there's AI involved in it. I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs of that, but maybe. I mean, I'm sure. I'm sure the way that, as we know, you know, everyone changes through life, different experiences and things, and the director that he was back in 1986, it was 86, wasn't it? That he made Aliens. He's a very different person to what he is now. You know, and I mean, obviously, with all these Avatar films and that, you know, there's a lot of digital CGI and all the rest of it. So there's a lot of that probably been incorporated in this new version to a degree. But yeah, for me personally, I agree with you. I think it's two different experiences. You know, and if you're not happy with the 4K, then just keep the Blu-ray, because
you've always, it ain't like the Blu-ray doesn't exist anymore. You know, it's not like what George Lucas done with Star Wars, and he's like said, well, this is my preferred version, and these other ones are never going to see the light of day again. Aliens is there on Blu-ray.
Absolutely, and a very good transfer as well. You know,
that's right. Yeah. Now, would I, on my next rewatch of Aliens, I'd probably take the Blu-ray. I'd probably go for the Blu-ray because I like the atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, but the you know, the 4K, I'd flip between them. I'd probably flip between. It's probably one of those ones now where, like I said, I watch the Aliens films on the regular, yearly probably, or some of them, some of them yearly. Same with Predator. I'd probably flip. I know that my last watch was 4K. My next watch would probably be Blu-ray, and then after that, I'd probably say, "Oh, I'm going to put the 4K in again," and then the Blu-ray. Do you know what I mean? And back and forth like that with it, because, like I said, I think that the 4K benefits, not benefits. That's the wrong word I'm looking for. It's just a nice addition to the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
For a different reason.
Complement to the original.
Yeah, that's the word. It complements it. And not in a bad way. But like I said, I will reiterate. Yeah, atmosphere-wise, it detracts from the atmosphere, but you can appreciate the detail in the sets and in the designs and things like that. What you didn't see before, you can appreciate.
Mm. Which is your preferred cut, the theatrical or the special edition?
It's the special edition version.
Yeah, I agree.
The extended cut is my preferred cut.
Yeah, that's totally agree with you. I mean, I watched the extended cut.
I think the same with Alien. I always go extended.
Yeah. I might watch the theatrical cut of the Blu-ray actually, just in a couple of months' time, just to sort of, just.
I think for me, the extended cut gives more. The loss of Ripley's daughter lends more gravitas to the parental theme of the film, because obviously you've got her becoming the mother figure for Newt, and seeing her, and then you've got the mother alien. So there's all these parental themes going through. So the addition to the loss of her daughter and finding out and seeing some of that stuff with her, it kind of adds to the weight of that for me.
Yes.
And then obviously you've got the sentry gun scene, which, to be honest, the sentry gun scene, I don't think it's a great scene, because a lot of it is more the guns firing than seeing it's only later on in that scene that you start seeing the aliens taking the wax from it. It's like cut away, the guns firing, but there is, and this is the one thing that's never, the aliens in the roof, and how they got into the roof to get into their facility.
Never explained, is it?
It's because of the sentry guns. So they set themselves up. They in their setting up these sentry guns, what happened was that all the acid burnt the ceiling.
Okay, yeah.
The aliens then got up in through that. So them setting up the sentry guns was actually the downfall of the aliens getting into that room.
Yeah. I've never
and I like
that.
I think that's a great, it's a shame that wasn't sort of mentioned or shown. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you've set up this thing to defend yourself, and in doing so, that defense has actually hindered you and become the liability, and allowed them access.
I think as well, the sentry guns kind of, obviously Hicks is, there's those scenes where you're seeing you see the monitor and the bullets are going down, and he's counting them down, saying this gun's got this many bullets, this one's got this. And I think that just kind of shows how relentless the aliens are. Even though they're, these things are probably wiping out, I don't know how many aliens, but quite a few. They're still relentless, and they're still coming for them, despite all these guns that this arsenal, which would have wiped out. If it was humans, they'd all be dead. But
it does show, because the aliens have a sense of, there is an intelligence to the aliens. Like ants. Ants do have an intelligence. They're quite intelligent creatures, and they're good at problem solving and this sort of a thing. And the aliens themselves you know, they have that ability as well.
Yeah.
And so they withdraw. The ones take the whack that they take. The acid then opens up, and they use that as their access.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
defense as well, defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, what about Alien 3? What your again? This is kind of a divisive film that I think again it's a Marmite film. You either like it or you don't. What what are your thoughts on Alien 3?
Okay, I've never had an issue with Alien 3. I believe most. Okay, I think thematically the problem with Alien 3 that people don't realize the problem that they have is that they wanted aliens again. You know, you've taken Alien, which is a slasher in film, a slasher film in space. You've turned it into a Vietnam in space, bigger, broader, action-packed extravaganza, and now you're being handed a film that is a problematic movie. Don't get me wrong, but you're being handed a narrative that reduces it to one alien and no weapons.
Yeah.
Now, in that, it's kind of like it's a step backwards, whereas people would have wanted a step forwards.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's and I'm not saying the film's without issue. It has issue. It has pacing issues. It has, as we know, it's the behind the scenes. You know, the film was problematic in its production and all this, and that does go to show characters are, you know, in the theatrical cut, disappear, just vanish for no reason and don't come back. You don't know what's happened to them and all things like that. As a film, I don't mind it. I think that it was a nice ending to the trilogy. It gave an end to the Ripley character, and I had no issue with that stuff at all. The cardinal sin of killing off Hicks and Newt. I wasn't as hung up on that as what a lot of people were.
No.
You know, that might have been because of the comic books, and I'd had more Hicks and Newt in the comics, and this went a different way. You know, yeah, I don't mind the film. I like the idea of it taking it back to alien basics.
Yeah. Yeah. Stripped away everything, didn't it? You know, for me personally, I think when I initially saw it, I wasn't that impressed, but it's a film that's grown on me with time, and I actually quite like the fact that it's so different to Aliens. You know, you've gone from like a full gun arsenal against these things to literally nothing. You know, and I don't know whether you know this, but apparently one of the original scripts for the film was that there was actually supposed to be monks, you know, sort of a religious kind of thing, and I think that's touched upon because obviously the prisoners, they're referred to as the brothers, aren't they?
Yeah, there's hints of it in there.
Is it? Yeah.
The DNA of that can be seen in, because they're coming together and they're being preached to. You know, they sort of follow God, so to speak. But it was also meant to be set on a wooden planet as well. That was built. Now, I do actually have a graphic novel, and I've never read it. I've never got around to reading it. I've got two graphic novels, one of Alien and one of Alien 3, which are based around the original scripts for both films. The Alien one, it's been so long, I can't remember it too much. And the Alien 3 one, I never got around to reading. But obviously they're in a box somewhere. I should read them, really. But yeah. So, I've got no issue with, you know, I like the fact that it, you know, we saw a different type of alien in the sense that it was still, you know, because it birthed from an animal, whether it be the dog in the theatrical cut or the bull in the extended cut.
Yeah.
When the alien births from a four-legged creature, you get that, whereas the alien in Aliens are on two legs because they're birthed from people. In this, obviously, it uses its four legs, runs around because it's birthed from an animal. And anything, if it's an animal with four legs, you're going to get the what they call like the runner type aliens.
Yeah.
Which is
and again, I mean, there was more CGI used. I don't know whether there was any puppetry in this. In that
there
film,
was puppetry in it. There was some puppetry in it. Yes.
I know
there's a really odd scene where the alien is eating someone, and it looks like it's almost humping him. It's doing this sort of action, and that's actually puppet. That's actually puppet. That scene. The CGI, I think, is primarily used during the run-in scenes in the corridor. Obviously, the scene where the alien comes down next to Ripley, and you've got its face right next to her. That's obviously that's in camera. That's a practical effect. And that's one of the things I like about this film as well. It carries on that sort of parenthood theme from I mean, the themes for all the Aliens film, obviously the first Alien film, a big part, thematic part of it is rape, essentially.
Yeah.
Right, because H.R. Geiger, when he designed the aliens, there's a lot of phallic, sexual, BDSM
imagery.
Kind of nature to it. The face hugger itself, the bit that the thing comes out of, the long goes down your throat, looks like the genitalia of a woman. Obviously, the alien's head is very phallic.
Yeah.
There's that. And obviously what the creature does to you, it essentially rapes you. It rapes you and impregnates you. The facehugger forces itself onto you and forces impregnation. Right. You've got that. And then Aliens, like I said, you have this theme of motherhood and all this sort of a thing throughout it. And then when you get to Alien 3, you still have the theme of rape that comes into play, because obviously there's the scene where the inmates are going to attempt to rape Ripley and force themselves onto her, and you've still got the motherhood themes going through, in that Ripley's now the host for the Queen, which is meant to be a queen in her chest. I think she says that. She states that in the film, that it's a queen. So you have that motherhood, and I like that. It's much akin to Predator 2, where the predator won't harm the woman that's impregnated. It won't touch her because of these morals that the predator holds. And in Alien, you've got the drone alien or the alien runner that won't harm her because she's impregnated.
Yeah.
And so you got these great themes going throughout, and it's you got this linkage between Ripley and the alien from the first Alien film, and to prevent the spread of the alien, as the mother of the mother, so to speak, she's the mother of the mother alien, which is inside her. She decides to take the life of both of them, herself and the alien, to rid the universe of this scourge, so to speak.
Yeah.
There's some great themes.
Personally, for me, I think it was the perfect ending to the trilogy. Well, then the trilogy. So, I mean, that kind of segues then into Alien 4, Resurrection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, you've got a theatrical cut and a director's cut. And just to say, my preferred Alien 3 is the extended cut.
Yeah,
I do think it's very long, but those characters that disappear, you know, old what's his face, Doctor Who, Paul McGann, his character just vanishes from the film, the theatrical cut, no explanation. I think the last you see of him is in the medical bay. So there's bits that, do you know what I mean? There's more character. It's a better developed film of the two, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of changes. It's good, but yeah, no, Alien Resurrection, 97. That was. I remember cinema trip to see it. I can watch the film. You know, I can watch it. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think it's. I think there's some good ideas. There's some good ideas in a bad film.
Yeah.
I one of the biggest complaints I have about it, I didn't mind the whole Ripley cloning thing. Fair enough. You know, again, theme wise, it plays in that ballpark of motherhood again, and with the newborn at the end and things like that. You know, the whole cloning process, the alien queen taking on a new birthing method because it's from a cloned human that carried the alien in it. And do you know what I mean? There's some interesting ideas in the film. I think my biggest issue with it is that is primarily the casting throughout. It feels like you've got people playing caricatures of real people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Godzilla 98, I have the same issue with that. I don't believe the actors playing the parts that they're playing. Primarily like the main military guy in it. I don't buy him as a military figure. It's too cartoonish, too caricaturish. There's but it's a film with certain ideas that work.
Yeah. Again, I mean, it's been some time since I've seen the film, so it's a little hazy in my memory. But Winona Ryder was in it, wasn't she? Was she an android?
Yeah, she plays an android called Cool. Her name was Cool. So Alien had Ash, then you had Bishop.
Yeah.
Bishop android, then you had Cool, ABC, and then when you get to Prometheus, you've got D for David. So you've got ABCD.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So
yeah. So yeah, she was an android in it.
Ron Perlman, I think he was quite good in it. He's always good in stuff, Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman's always watchable.
Yeah.
I mean, I like I like that the whole Ripley's been cloned, but because of the alien in her, she's developed alien-esque. She's taken on bits of the alien.
Yeah.
I quite like that.
Yeah.
You know, it was a bit different.
I think for me, whilst I agree with you, the cloning stuff was a good idea. Did they really need to bring Ripley back, or could they have just gone with just a whole new cast? But I guess, like you say, the theme of the close relationship between Ripley and the alien and that motherhood and connection, I suppose with the cloning, it's just another angle on that, isn't it? You know, from the
previous
film.
It's you know, to answer your first question, did they need to bring Ripley back? No. Would I have
No.
preferred an Alien film that was another film with different people in the Alien universe? Yes, I would. I don't, but like I said, it's not one of my favorite Alien films, but there's certain elements and ideas in there that I like, that I like seeing. That I look at and I think this is not a good film. It's not a good Alien film, but there's a decent idea that could be explored. There's a decent idea. You do have like a sort of an amalgam. Like I said, you've got, obviously the blood was picked up. The blood came from Fury, whatever it was called in Alien 3, that planet. Cloned, took them 200 years for the clone to get the cloning perfected and all that sort of stuff, or till the technology was there to clone. Then she comes out part alien. They removed the alien queen from her because they've cloned her at the point that she had the alien queen in her. She's developed characteristics of the alien. The alien queen has developed characteristics of her in that it takes on a new birthing process. And I like that. As for the newborn, I've got a figure of it there.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not a fan of the newborn alien.
No,
no.
I thought that was a step too far myself.
Yeah, it's kind of like each Alien film has to give you something different,
Yes.
which is one of the things I like about Alien 3, that it didn't need to do that. Obviously you had Alien, which was just an alien. You went to Aliens and they gave you a bigger version of an alien, that being the Queen, which worked totally, 100% it worked. The Alien Queen's fantastic. Then Alien 3, they didn't need to give you this, we've got to do something different. We've got to give you another type of alien. Then you get to Alien Resurrection and they have to give you a different type of alien, that being the newborn. Now, I don't really like the newborn, but again, there's an element of it that when I watched at the cinema freaked me out. Psychologically freaked me out, and I couldn't place what it was. I remember coming out and talking to a friend about it who I'd seen it with. This was the friend who I'd gone Alien War with and things like that. And we spoke about it, and I was like, that made me uneasy. There was something about that creature that made me uneasy. And on exploration, it was the combination of birth and death rolled into one being, I think, because obviously you've got this newborn, which is a baby. It's just been hatched. At the size, you don't have that silly growth rate thing. It's hatched at that size. It comes out the alien queen. It's that, but it's baby-esque in its nature, in some of its, in the eyes, the puppy eyes, the sad puppy eyes that it has or puts on. But then at the same time, it'll be like, and then blam, it just kills. It kills without remorse. And there's this birth and death interweaved in this creature that, for me, actually impacted me when watching it at the cinema, coming away from it. But as a design, no, I don't like that you have to give us a new design. I don't like that sort of stereotypical, let's do this for the next film. We've got to go bigger and better. But it's never better. It's always worse.
Yeah.
With the exception of the Alien Queen.
Yeah, I think for me, I just found it was just a step too far. I just thought, I think I'm not liking this idea of a baby, a human hybrid thing. It just, to me, it's just pushing the boundaries of just that step too far. And I'm sure maybe a lot of people would agree. That's probably one of the things that they didn't like about the film.
But I'll be interested to see what you think of Alien Romulus.
Yes, yeah.
Because again, it's one of those films that has to give you we're going to do something else.
Different.
We're going to give you something else. I won't say no more than that. But yeah.
At least they've, with this film, obviously we can't say the spoilers, but I'm hoping that there's not a cameo with Sigourney Weaver in it. You know, I'm hoping it's just a complete different set of characters set within the alien world.
Well, no, I mean it's no spoiler. I'll tell you now. No, there's no Sigourney Weaver.
That's right, because actually thinking about it, it's set between. Am I right in saying it's set between Alien and Aliens?
Yes, and closer to Alien than Aliens.
Okay, so
Sigourney Weaver's out there floating in space somewhere.
She's out there, but yeah. So that answers the question then. And yeah, I quite like the idea that there's no connection to a legacy character like her, because I think in the past they've always done this with. And they still do it, don't they?
There is a connection to Alien in a sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, without going, yes, no, yeah, I don't want to go into spoilers, but
the events of Alien form part of this film.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, which I liked. Yeah, there's events that form part of this film, and there's linkage to, you know, and obviously Weyland-Yutani know about, because obviously you know that Weyland-Yutani sent the ship to the derelict in Alien, so they know about the alien, because that was Ash's priority, to get the creature back, or
Right.
get a creature back. Yeah. As it's always been. So yeah, so they know about, so there is linkage to, yeah, Alien, which doesn't impact the legacy of Alien in any way.
Okay.
Or the events of Alien, or the events of Aliens. It's kind of like a linkage that's branches out, shall we say.
Okay.
Yeah, it's done well.
Cool.
And there's a certain element to an alien, what they do with an alien, that I like. A something we haven't seen before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I'm gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to wrap things up actually, because I do actually need to go to the toilet unless you can carry on without me for a few minutes. But I do really need to actually, use the toilet.
well, we don't want to wrap things up. We've only got to Alien Resurrection.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Shall we? We could either do a follow-up podcast and carry on with this, or if you're happy just to carry on talking for a minute, but I really need to go.
Right, that's a way to interrupt it. I'm happy to carry on talking. I can show some of my collectibles while you've gone.
Yeah, sorry about this, but I do really need to go.
All right.
Okay, so I'll be back in a couple of minutes. All right.
Yeah, Matt's obviously gone off to birth something himself. Okay, so Aliens. Let's have a look at some of the collectibles that I've got just to fill the interim. Obviously, you can shuttle search through this bit until you see Matt appear back in that box there to continue discussing. But we don't want to stop the podcast here just because Matt needs to go and relieve himself, because we've only got to Alien Resurrection. You still have Prometheus. You've still got 4 films, haven't you? You've got 2 AVP films, and you've got Prometheus and Covenant to talk about. So let's take a look at some collectibles that I've got. So first up here is I have a full-size, life-size, 1-to-1 scale version of a face hugger, which you would have seen if you saw my collectible video. So I'm going to show some of that stuff here at least. So this here is this was released for Alien Covenant. This isn't the first 1-to-1 scale face hugger I've had. I had another one, but this one is more posable in that obviously it's made of a sort of plasticky type of material. but with the wire that runs throughout, you can pose the legs in different positions and the tail itself. The one that I had before was far more explicit in this area here. And on this design, they decided to scale back on what this actually looks like. But on the other version, it was quite sort of graphic, shall we say. So we have that there. Then we have here we have an alien statue. An alien statue. This part of the Alien collection statues, I think maybe from Eaglemoss. I don't know. My wife bought it for me one Christmas. She saw it in Mankind. They were selling it, and surprised me at Christmas with this as a gift, because she knows I like statues and collectibles. She knows I've got a love for the Alien films. She enjoys them herself as well. And obviously you might recognize the hat there. And we've got some skin there from the Alien. Matt's back from his birthing.
Sorry about that. That's yeah, a bit unexpected, but when you got to go, you got to go.
You got to go. So I've just shown I showed my life-size face hugger and got onto my statue there. But anyone watching, if you want to see some more of my collectibles close up, I've got some on the shelf behind me, go and visit my Alien video from the other day. Part 2, the Alien Collection Part 2. There we go.
Yeah.
Where you can see a lot more, including a life-size alien head.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, no, that's great. Thanks ever so much for just, yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, I was in full flow, but I just thought, oh, what do we do? Do we end the recording and then come back to it? But
no, that's all right. It wasn't an awkward silence, me sitting there not knowing what to say. It was easy to fill the void.
Yeah, yes. Okay, so yeah, where were we? Resurrection.
Yes.
So
do we move on from that now? Have we finished with Resurrection?
I think so, yeah. I mean, we started to talk a little bit about Romulus. Obviously, we're not going to go into...
No, I won't go into spoilers of Romulus at all. Apart from I enjoyed it. But as we discussed before this, there's story elements that bug me, that I have to fill in my own headcanon. And there's interesting ways that I would have changed the script myself had I been a script doctor. I would have changed elements to better suit the narrative. But there we go. I might do a video on that.
Yeah, I was going to say it'd be interesting to watch that once I've watched the film. Unfortunately, I'm hoping to go and see it this Tuesday coming, but that's not worked out, so it's going to have to be the following Tuesday. So I'm going to have to make sure that I keep away from any spoilers.
So are we going to go as things were released now with AVP?
Yes, yeah, we can do. Yeah. Yes, I have that steelbook as well.
I've got a dent in mine.
Yeah, it's annoying with that, isn't it?
Yeah, probably because of the move. Just one of those things, but there we go. I won't lose no sleep over it. So Alien versus Predator.
Yeah. Based on the comic books.
Yes. So let me talk a little bit about the history of that. So obviously Dark Horse Comics had created, had got the licenses for Aliens, and they'd got licenses for Predator back in the late 80s. And they were producing Alien and Predator comics. Now, interestingly, the just as an aside, the Predator comic, first Predator comic, was set in the city, and it went on to kind of inspire Predator 2.
Okay.
And after a little while, they decided let's do an AVP. They're both 20th Century Fox properties. We hold the license to both of them, so we can team these things up. We can pit them off against one another. Now, the comic book was set in the future, the first Alien versus Predator, this is I'm talking about, 'cause there's been several AVP comics, but the first one was set on an alien planet, like a deserty planet in the future with ranchers, this kind of thing. And it saw the predators come down to the planet and release alien eggs, put alien eggs down for the face huggers to hatch out, to go and latch onto things for them then to hunt. So you can see where where Alien versus Predator, the first film, has taken elements from this, and the film, the comic book, culminated in obviously most of the people getting killed, with this one surviving girl who teams up with a surviving predator to take on the aliens. So that's that. The comic book is a bit more substantial than that, but that's basically, and you can see where the film has taken elements of the comic, with the predators harvesting aliens, so to speak, for their own hunting practices, and the teaming up of a girl with a predator.
Okay.
Yeah. So now
Well,
I
then-
remember, I do remember the hype around this. I remember when it was announced. I remember when it came out. I remember how excited I was for it, being that Alien and Predator are two favorite franchises of mine.
Yeah.
And I was excited for the film.
And obviously, Paul W.S. Anderson of Resident Evil kind of fame, husband of Mila Jovovich, kind of took the directorial reins of AVP, didn't he?
And I believe he wrote it as well, if I'm not
He
mistaken.
wrote it as well, did he?
I if I'm wrong, someone can tell me, but I'm sure that he did. Or maybe,
Okay.
yeah, I may be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that he may have wrote it himself. Yeah.
I mean, I quite liked the film. I liked the idea of it being set in Antarctica within this sort of pyramid. Obviously, they kind of showed flashbacks to sort of an ancient time, almost like, was it the Mayan time or Incas or that sort of thing? When
that sort of yeah,
that kind of thing. And obviously, this was buried in the, I'm guessing, Antarctica at that time was, sort of free from snow and ice and all the rest of it. And it's all got buried.
Yeah.
And obviously, them going, this team of people going to find, to find this sort of ancient sort of tomb, as it were.
Yeah.
And obviously,
it's got a great setup. It's got a good setup.
it was nice to see Lance Hendrickson, obviously from Aliens, coming back. As Weyland.
That's right. Yeah.
Heading up this sort of team, obviously financing it. That surprised me, actually. I was surprised to actually see him coming from. I thought this would be whilst obviously it's the properties of Alien franchise and the Predator franchise, I wasn't expect to see any linkage from Alien. So, that I quite like that. I thought that was done very well.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, I think the setup of the film was very good. The setting and all this. It's a fun film. I have fun with it. I can't really say anything more than that. I have fun with it. It doesn't really do anything for either of the franchises. Obviously, it's in my mind, it's not in canon with Aliens, but I kind of put it in canon with Predator.
Yeah, I think it's his own thing. Obviously there is the linkage with Weyland, so personally I would put it more with the Alien franchise than the Predator franchise.
So then, how do you explain Weyland in Prometheus? That's where it throws it. That's where the contradiction comes with Prometheus coming after, and obviously ignoring AVP.
Yeah, true.
That's, you know what I mean? That's why I say in my head, I always stick it as a Predator. I throw it in with the Predator franchise rather than the Alien franchise.
Okay.
Because of aliens being on Earth, and you know what I mean? There's a lot. It has to be taken as its own thing, as an aside, rather than, you know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. But element of it, one of the elements that does bug me about it is what you said. The flashback scenes are like ancient times, the Mayans, whoever they were, ancient civilization, and the predators are the same as what we have today, with the same technologies.
Yeah.
Rather than a sort of ancient version of the Predator. Okay, fair enough. The Predators had space travel back then and all this, but it's that's the bit that it's like they haven't progressed as a intelligent race in any way technologically from however long ago, thousands and thousands of years to now. You know, they've still got the shoulder cannons that, you know what I mean, and all that sort of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At least when we had, you know, with Prey, they de-evolved the Predator, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? They de-evolved his technology and things like that to make it a bit more, yeah. So that's the only bit that really bugged me about the film. The casting, again, a lot of the characters are there for stupid, you know, just there to be killed. No real character to them. But like, that's what I'm saying. It's a sort of dumb. It's a dumb, fun film that I have fun with.
It's very much like the Resident Evil films for me. You know, obviously done by the same guy. Very much, you know, not to be taken too seriously, but just dumb fun.
Yeah.
You know, and
I mean, again,
that's why I kind of. Sorry.
Go on. No, go on.
I was going to say that's why I kind of, in my mind, I kind of put it as its own thing, rather than trying to, like say, maybe fit it into the Alien. I think I've tried to do that, but I guess what you're saying with Prometheus, it didn't really work. And I don't see it in the Predator world either. I think it's just its own thing. It's just entertainment, dumb fun. But I enjoy it. You know, I get good fun from watching it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good ideas in there. The whole setting, the and there's some good scenes. The scene where, you know, you've got the geezer in the Arctic storm and you see the Predator ship fly over the top of him in dead silence. You know, things like that were really good.
Good visuals, like the pyramid.
There's some good elements. The Predator itself looked a bit, well, I remember people referring it to as a mongoloid predator when it's mask off, because it doesn't look right. They've never got the predators looking. Yeah, the predators only ever looked, the best the Predator ever looked was in that first Predator film. Ever since then, they've not worked out the mandibles and how to work them properly. It's like they didn't realize how to do it. But you know, and I think the Alien Queen plays like a T-Rex. You know, it's like, it's huge. But the whole, you know, teaming up with the girl and giving her the scar, that, like I said, that's all from the comic. And in the comic, the Predator does go on to die and the girl lives, and you catch up with the girl character again in a comic that comes after, and she's been taken into a Predator clan. She's actually hunting with predators because they've found her and they've seen the scar marking that this predator's put on her, and they know that because of that she's sort of been deemed worthy of hunting. But also, while she's there as part of this predator clan, she does sort of get bullied and picked on by predators who don't believe that she should be there.
Okay.
Just as an aside from that. Sorry, I
Yeah.
just thought I'd say.
Whether that would work within a film, I'm not so sure.
So I think one of the biggest issues people had, well, one of the issues, I won't say biggest issues, one of the issues people had with this film was the rating, because when it came out, it was a 12A.
Yeah.
Now the reason, okay, if let's just assume that they'd done an Alien versus Predator film that only had one human element, one human character in it, right?
Right.
It doesn't matter how violent you make that film between the aliens and the predators, chances are you're not going to get high rating, because the violence is between two fantastical creatures. Doesn't matter what they do to one another, it won't deem a high rating, because it's not, the violence isn't towards humans. Now I know there's humans in it that get killed and that sort of thing, but and they did tone the violence down there, but where the film is primarily Alien versus Predator, you don't have that. Terminator 3 is another good example of this, right? Just as an aside, when you've got the scene of Kristanna Loken fighting Arnie in the toilets, and they're smashing one another through the porcelain toilets and whacking, you know what I mean, and all this sort of thing. If that fight had been, because the fight in the context of the narrative of the film is two robots fighting, you can get away with an increased violence level.
Yeah.
At that point, and it's similar to Alien versus Predator. Two fantastical creatures fighting it out. Doesn't really matter what they do to one another. It's not going to impact rating.
No.
Yeah, it's that kind of element. Now, yeah. I will say something else about Alien versus Predator again in a minute.
Okay. No, carry on.
Okay, so this is one of the first films. One of the biggest problems I have with the Alien franchise, as you know, because I've done the video, is part of the life cycle, and do with the speed of the life cycle, right? And it's very much enhanced in, and this was, I think this was probably one of the first films to do it. The speed, whereas Alien got away with it a bit, and Alien 3 got away with it a bit. Aliens itself, it didn't come into play because you already had the alien there as it's the fact that in this film you've got a face hugger, you've got the face huggers going on to people. Within minutes, you've got a chest burster coming out.
Yeah.
And then you've got the aliens in no time growing to full size. Literally. And the problem lies in the narrative of the film, because they decided to put into the narrative a time that you're working to, in the sense that this pyramid shifts its shape every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You now get a timeline of the ludicrousness of the growth of these creatures, which is literally, I think in this film you've probably got maybe one or two shifts of the pyramid before you've gone from chest burst face hugger to full size alien. So
it makes
minutes.
it farcical, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, and the minute that you imagine that, now I know that, I think Alien Covenant, Alien Covenant, I think there was a scene with David where the first alien comes out and you see it growing in front of him a little bit. You actually see it in size.
Yeah.
Imagine, and then they sort of cut away. They don't show it grow full size. But could you imagine just sitting there, seeing this thing getting birthed? The whole thing, within 20 minutes, you've had something on your face. It's impregnated you. It's gestated. It's burst out. And it's growing into this full size thing within quarter of an hour.
Yeah.
With no way of, with nothing there to increase its mass, no food source to increase its mass or anything like that.
No.
At least with Alien, right? That John Hurt's character, he got impregnated in the ship. There's a time frame for them getting his body out of the ship, getting his body back to the thingy. Then, and then he's in the medical bay. Then the thing comes out of his chest, and a whole period of time has passed. From that, you could say that a couple of days have passed over that, which is fair enough. And then the organism runs off, and then they're in a search for it, and there's nothing in the background that really gives you a countdown time of the growth of the alien. It's pretty quick, but you've got nothing there giving you that as a time frame. And this film gives you that time frame with the 10 minutes of the pyramid changing. That annoys me.
The only thing that they do show you in Alien is obviously them finding the skin. So it's shed its skin, a bit like a snake, reptilian sort of thing. So I think that gave you a sense of its growth, shall we say?
But when you come to like 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes growth,
it's getting ridiculous.
Which is one of the, and not to spoil it, it's one of the things that bugged me about the new film Romulus, because it's literally seconds. You get it seconds. It's literally, the time that you took to go off to the toilet just then. Far quicker than that.
Crazy, isn't it? It's a shame.
Yeah, there's, but yeah, so that kind of bugs me. But there we go. But it's a fun film. It's a film I have fun with, and I enjoy it in a mindless. I can give a mindless rewatch to.
But again, is that down to the way that films are made now? It's all about getting to the action quick. With Alien, there was, you didn't see an Alien for ages, did you? It was all building. The sort of.
It spends that time out of character.
Yeah.
And look at how many memorable characters you have from Aliens. Even Alien, you remember the characters in Alien, right? And they're just blue collar workers. And then you get to Aliens, and the characters are, they're Marines, but they all have different characters to them. You remember Hicks, you remember Hudson, you remember Vasquez, Gorman. Do you know what I mean? Burke, the snaky guy from the company. You remember these characters because they've got character. Obviously, Alien 3 loses that because, the characterization in Alien 3 is not very good either. But that had a lot of background problems, didn't it? But yeah. So, and obviously, when you get to Alien AVP, characterizations out the window. These people are just there to be killed. Nothing else.
No. I mean, you obviously with Weyland, you've got that legacy stuff. With him, so you kind of already know his character to a degree. Obviously, you've seen him as an android. And obviously that then gives you the idea. Oh, okay, so Bishop was based on the, of the look of Weyland. Who was Weyland? We didn't know who Weyland was, so it gave us that. But yeah, pretty much everyone else was just throwaway, fodder.
Even the main girl, she's not overly memorable in character.
No,
you know what I mean?
I couldn't even tell you the names, to be honest, of the people in that.
No,
film.
I can't. I can't.
No.
I can't remember characters' names, but there we go.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's move on to AVP Requiem. Thoughts on this one?
Again, it suffers from that character problem. It's a teen slasher film with predators thrown in.
It's more of a teen horror film, if you ask me. Whereas I felt more AVP was more an action adventure slant to it, you know, a bit of a
Yeah.
Tomb Raider-esque sort of element to it, whereas this is just slasher teen horror.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. I mean, I don't mind the sort of, setting it in a populated town. I don't mind that. I mean, I like the linkage. I like the way that it followed on from. It's literally a complete. It follows on straight away from Alien vs Predator one.
Yeah.
First one with the alien being Predator being impregnated with an alien, you having the alien Predator hybrid, which hatches out at the beginning, causing the ship to crash, and all that sort of a thing. So I kind of like that continuation element. Now I remember when the trailers for this. I think the trailer for this film was very good. It gave a great, it made it look good. Because you've gone back to like an 18 rating, they upped the ante on the violence and all that. Yeah. Where humans were getting killed in gory manner and all this sort of a thing.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the film completely fails. It's not a very good film.
No.
However, I will say to people, if they haven't seen the extended cut is marginally better.
Yeah, fleshes it out more, doesn't it?
It fleshes the Predator out a lot more. There's a lot of Predator stuff that was deleted from the film. It doesn't do nothing for the human elements, but what you've got in this film is, probably one of the best Predator characters to ever be put onto film.
Yeah.
Wolf, the Predator in this one was, he was a good Predator character. Now, one of the issues with this film, the theatrical cut of the film, is that obviously when the Predator leaves for Earth, he knows what he's going to deal with.
Yeah. He
knows that there's the possibility of infestation, and he knows that there is an alien Predator hybrid on Earth, right? And he has to go and deal with it. And then that led a lot of people to say, well, why are you only sending one Predator? You know what's going on, you know the problem, and you're only sending one Predator. Right? Because what happens in this film is he gets a distress call. They get a distress call back on the Predator homeworld, and he opens up a view screen or something, and he sees the goings on the ship. Yeah, so he sees the thermal footage of the alien Predator hybrid thing. So he knows what he's dealing with. So why are you only sending one Predator? When you watch the extended cut, have you seen the extended cut?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you watch
that,
when you watch that extended cut of the film, it's re-edited so that, well, the way it properly goes is that the Predator, they get a distress call from a ship that's crashed on Earth. That's it. Simple. That's it. He doesn't know why or the reasons why. Ship's crashed. He has to go and sort it out and clean up the mess. Yeah. So humans don't find the technologies, humans don't find the predators and all that sort of thing. And it's not until he gets there and he's exploring the ship that he finds one of the dead predators, and he removes that predator's mask, which has recorded everything. And then he can see what he's now dealing with. He sees the predator at that point, the alien predator cross creature at that point. And it makes far more narrative sense now as to why you're now alone to deal with this situation. And he sees the face huggers as well. He sees tracks of the face huggers going out and this sort of a thing. So he had no idea until that point of getting there what the situation was. And it makes the narrative of the film work better. And like I said, and you've got other elements in the film, bits and pieces with that predator that they wanted to cut out. And it was it was a decent predator, probably one of the best predator characters ever created in a predator film.
Yeah, even though it didn't do that well, did it? It did bomb.
No, because like I said, it was a teen slasher. And
a lot of it is set in there's a lot of dark scenes in the film. Again, where you can't see a lot of what's going on, but
Yeah, it's very dark, very, very
you know,
dark. It's a film that, you know, if I watch it, and like I said, I did give it a rewatch a while ago. I have to watch it at night time with the curtains drawn. I can't have any light source. It's just the
no,
TV to be able to see what's going on.
yeah,
Not a film you can put on during the day when you've got that ambient light coming in.
no, no. I do wonder whether I don't know whether we will get a 4K of it, but whether 4K, certainly with the HDR and all of that, whether that would actually make for a better viewing of the film. I don't know whether we will ever get a 4K of it, but you never know. They may do it.
I
Something
think the
like
term
Germany
that
might do it.
you can't polish a turd comes it comes into play there. I don't think it matters how much more you can see. You're not gonna, you know, yeah.
But
There's
I
some
tell you
decent
what,
scenes though. There are some decent scenes in the film. You
yeah,
know, the Alien on Predator stuff. There's, you know, but ultimately, yes, it's a dud of a film, really. But I
yeah,
do, if I watch it, it is the extended cut. I have to watch the extended cut.
yeah. I may well actually put the film on because I can simulate HDR with the projector just to see whether I can see any more with it, whether it does. There's a lot, a lot of these dark scenes. Sometimes you can see more detail with HDR. So yeah,
I mean,
but like you
I do
say,
like
you're
the.
polishing it.
Sorry if I keep coughing. It's asthma related.
No problem.
I do like the end, the callous nature of let's blow the town up with everyone in it.
Yeah,
Let's round them all together. Let's tell them there's going to be an evacuation and round them all into the centre of town, and then drop a nuke on it. I like that sort of that cold, callous nature of the company, so to speak. And obviously, the film ends with the tease of another film, doesn't it? Because you have the Yutani aspect where they take the Predator weaponry to Yutani
yes,
in a briefcase.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, but obviously nothing came of that because the film flopped massively.
yeah, yeah. A shame. It would have been nice to have had a third one just to sort of seal off the trilogy, but
I
like
do
you
have a
say,
steelbook. I have a steelbook for that as well.
yes, I've got that one. That's a nice one, that.
Yeah, and also I have that steelbook.
Yeah, that's from a game, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's from Alien vs Predator game, but I utilised it for a copy of AVP too.
Did the game come out after the film, or was the game done before the film?
I think there was games. I don't know about this particular game, but certainly there was AVP games prior to the film. I think there was an AVP game that was based upon the comic book.
Okay.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me then, because Paul Anderson, I know he played all the Resident Evil games, and that was his inspiration for wanting to do the films. So it makes me wonder whether it was the same with AVP. If there were computer games available, and he's obviously a bit of a gamer, and he, possibly played those. So yeah, I don't know whether I don't think because the extended cut I don't think is on the Blu-ray, is it? Is it only on the German edition?
Yeah. See, my extended cut. Where is it?
Because I think I've got the.
Go on.
I think I've got the extended cut on the DVD.
Yeah.
Because there was I've got it. I mean, I can't. I didn't bring Predator stuff out here. But yeah, I'm sure there's the extended cut on the DVD, but not on the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I'm not sure about. I can't say for DVD because UK DVD because I think my DVD would have been Region 1 American.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had to source that from Germany. Obviously, it's got the reversible
Thing on it. Yeah.
the reversible thing, but that contains both the theatrical cut and the extended.
Well, after we finish recording, I will go and check. I'll let you know whether the extended cut is on the DVD. I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
Because as I say, I've got the steelbook that you've got, that Blu-ray, and I'm pretty sure that's only the theatrical cut.
That is only theatrical. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see the run times. Not really.
I'm sure I've seen the extended cut.
I think it's about 15 minutes difference.
It's either that or I've seen the deleted scenes of the extended cut, because I can remember the scene when the Predator puts the mask on and he sees what's going on.
Hold on one sec. So I am still here.
I'll be interested to see whether that DVD is an extended cut, because if it isn't, then I'll need to source that German Blu-ray, I think.
Yeah. I can't see what the running time is of the extended cut.
I'm just wondering, whether it's just the deleted scenes that I've seen, and maybe I haven't actually seen the extended cut. But yeah, I will check that. I'll check that later. I'm sure the DVD's got both cuts on it.
My DVD May. I can't remember. I said mine was American.
Yeah, so I think it was only available on DVD in the UK, and that's therefore why you probably got the German Blu-ray extended cut. I think that's what it is, but I
had it on the extended cut. My first extended cut was DVD, but American DVD.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The German one I got a few years ago.
We just got the extended cut on DVD in the UK. They never released the Blu-ray. I don't know. I'll have to check that.
I know Blu-ray didn't get it over here.
Yeah.
But cool. So anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on to the next one then, and I guess we're now into prequel territory.
This is where we divide opinion now.
Yes. Yes. Now, for me, I've really enjoyed Prometheus. I like the idea of, the engineers and kind of the origins of, I suppose,
man.
Yeah, of the alien. I mean, this film was done in 3D as well, so I'm a big fan of the 3D format. So it was nice to see the alien sort of universe in the 3D format. I quite like the characters in the film. I thought there was some good characters, different characters. I can't necessarily remember the names, but obviously you had Idris Elba, Charlize Theron. There were the two guys in the part of the team. You remember I can't remember their characters' names, but they were kind of like they had a sort of buddy sort of relationship with each other. Sort of, they both got killed, didn't they? In that chamber. You remember when?
Yeah, where one of them is trying to befriend the alien snake.
That's right. Yeah, they had quite a good sort of bit of banter between the two of them. So there was, I felt like you got to know a bit more about the characters in this one. And obviously you got David. He was, played excellently by Michael Fassbender. I thought he was the sort of standout in the film.
And then you got Rumi. What's her name? Rumi Mapes.
Oh yes, yeah. She was very good. Yeah, I thought she.
Numi Rapace. Numi Rapace.
Yeah. Quite a strong. Yeah, she kind of had elements of Ripley, I suppose. But again, very much going back to what you're saying about the sort of the rape scene sort of thing. You know, there was that sort of that happened in that film. Very much dealing with those sort of topics, shall we say. Obviously not face hugger, but it was that creature thing that got inside her, and you know, she went through that.
It was the black goo, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she got. Well,
no, it was the geezer. The geezer is the one where David put the black goo in the drink off his finger.
That's right.
And the geezer drank it. Yeah. That's that.
Then they have sex, and then obviously
that's it.
This thing grows inside her, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's almost like it deals with that sort of those sort of themes, if you see what I'm saying. The sort of being violated. That's the word I'm looking for. And she's trying to get this thing out of her. So I thought that was a very good scene. I like the Prometheus ship. Nice to see all the sort of technology, actually, a lot of the technology that you were seeing in that kind of almost, it's supposed to be a prequel, but actually it looked more advanced than what we were seeing in the 80s. Excuse me.
At least he doesn't do that. At least Romulus keeps with the feel of the technology.
Yes, yeah.
From the first Alien film.
And it's a bit of a surprise, really, because obviously Ridley Scott he directed this, didn't he? So, again, did they not think about that kind of thing and think, well, actually, the technology wouldn't be as advanced as it was, in the Alien film. But here we're seeing sort of holographic, sort of displays and all of this sort of thing. Whilst it looked great, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, from a timeline thing, it doesn't really work, does it?
Well, see, now my last viewing of this film, I switched it off. I tried to watch it as part of my Alien revisits, and I switched it off because I couldn't. A lot of the issue with this film, I think, lies in the production stage, because I remember reading a lot about it at the time, and it was very much like one day it is a prequel to Aliens, and the next day they were saying, there's reports saying, well, it's not a prequel to Aliens. It started off as it was gonna be, but now it's not. It's a standalone, it's its own thing. It's got nothing to do with Alien. Then it is Alien, now it's not Alien. And I'll be honest, I think Ridley Scott was more interested in telling a story about the engineers than about Alien, hence there not being an alien in the film. I know you got the Deacon thing at the end, that black alien thing that's alien-esque, but he was far more interested in, and I'll be honest, I think they shouldn't have had any connection to Alien at all. I think it should have been, he should have just told a sci-fi story about the origins of man from outer space and us going in search of our origins, and not have any linkage to Alien. This, for me, this film suffers the same problem as most prequel films, in that you don't need to know. I didn't need to know the origins of the alien. Why is it that there just can't be an alien life form out there that exists, and the space jockey, and this stuff exists out there, but we don't know the answers to where it came from, the wheres or whys, because the minute that you now link it to us, you take the origin and you link the origin to the aliens back to man,
Yeah.
and our linkage to the jockeys, the space jockeys, or the engineers, whatever you want to call them, link it all back to us. Is that you've now made the universe feel
Smaller.
that much smaller,
Yeah.
rather than there's this scary species of creature out there that we know nothing about, but it will just kill us. It will just, and it gestates and procreates like this. Do you know what I mean? That's the primary problem I've got with the film, is that I don't think that it was needed at all.
No.
And Ridley Scott didn't want to really tell an alien film story. He wanted to tell something else. And it's like they would, it isn't alien. It is alien. It isn't alien. Because I'm pretty sure with a few tweaks, you can turn that film into a complete story of its own with no linkage to Alien.
Yeah. And I think you're right. I think Ridley Scott wanted to make a film that wasn't connected with Alien.
Yeah.
But I think there's studio interference here. I think they felt, it's expanding the franchise. We're going to make a lot of money out of this.
Yeah, we need to have that link. We need to have that link to, because we're at a point now in time where original films don't really do very well, and it's all about sequels and connection. Because the minute you say, you've got that alien connection, you've got an established audience. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, I don't really. I'm not a fan of. Like I said, my last watch, I switched it off.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I do enjoy the film. I try not to think of it too much as part of the Alien films. I know it's got that bit at the end that's sort of the deacon that comes into it, but I try not to, put too much emphasis. I always try to think of it as a standalone film, with some good characters that I enjoy. The look of the film is fantastic. It was nice to see an alien. Well, again, not necessarily an alien, but nice to see a science fiction film from Ridley Scott in 3D, because I do like 3D films. And I mean, he was recited saying that when he made this film, every other film he was going to make was going to be in 3D. That was it. He wasn't turning back, and look how that's turned out. But no, I mean, I take it on its own merits and try not to.
I mean, I'm not going to knock. It's a good-looking film.
Yeah.
It's well made. It's well made. It just I don't feel it was needed.
No.
And
I think they tried to correct that, obviously, with Covenant.
And this is the problem with Covenant. This is because you've taken Covenant. Would never have been Ridley Scott's sequel to Prometheus. Yeah, it's a nice addition. Covenant would never have been Ridley Scott's sequel to Prometheus.
No,
it was about course correcting. This for me is the
like Star Wars, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like they had to go and course correct what had happened. We now, people came away from Prometheus moaning, there's no aliens, we want aliens. Now let's give them aliens.
Yeah.
So this film went on and done and made that cardinal sin of exactly what Alien 3 done, killing off a character that you would have wanted to follow out of the film prior to it, and that being the character of Shaw, played by Noomi Rapace.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then giving us, trying to give us an alien film while tying into a Prometheus, trying to give us a Prometheus sequel and an Alien prequel.
Yeah. And I do think that they, a lot of the film was then kind of centered more on David. I think they kind of obviously obviously spoilers here. If you haven't seen the film, obviously Noomi Rapace's character, she dies, but it's more about him and
Yeah.
his
So I have that.
fascination. But
That's all I have
yeah.
for this. But again, it's a film that I'll be honest. I saw this at the cinema.
Yeah.
I may have watched it once since, and I don't really fancy. It didn't connect with me as other Alien films have.
No.
Even I'd watch Alien versus Predator Requiem before I watched that, and it's probably that it's far better made film. This Covenant, obviously, I know that, I get that, I'm going to acknowledge that, but I hate that prequel thing. I just hate the prequel thing. I just don't need to know the origins of the alien.
No.
They work better. Mystery and intrigue works better than knowing.
Yeah. And I would say Covenant really is more of a origin story for the Alien franchise, more so than Prometheus, because Prometheus is, okay, that Deacon, you couldn't really say. I suppose it was an earlier version of the Alien, but then they really kind of went full throttle of, okay, let's get to the Xenomorph now in Covenant. And obviously David's fascination, almost like he's the creator of it, he's the one that's instigated it from Prometheus. And then his fascination with it. And again, I suppose that leads a little bit into a bit of a connection between both androids in the first two films. Obviously, what was the name of the first android?
Ash was the first one.
Ash. His fascination with the creature. And then obviously Bishop as well.
Yeah.
There were elements of that, weren't they? And again, it was done quite cleverly, because within that film, you got a hint that he was almost doing the same thing that Ash was doing when he was doing the autopsy and stuff. But then they took it in a different direction, that he didn't go crazy like Ash did. He did actually try to save, he did kind of save him, didn't he, by getting the ship down. But all the way through, there's still the android's fascination with these creatures. And obviously with David kind of being the instigator, the one that's almost the creator of the Xenomorph.
Yeah, which is one of the fundamental problems I have.
Yeah.
Because you've now got the engineers that created man. That's what they're going with, right? We go out and look for them. We find the engineers. And in doing so, David creates or recreates the aliens. I say recreates the alien because there's elements in Prometheus. This is where it all falls apart for me. In Prometheus, where there's murals on the wall in that building they go into, or that whatever it is they go into.
Yeah.
Of aliens.
Ship.
Not the ship, the thing they go into on the ground, whatever it is. I can't remember the film. One knows there's murals in there with aliens on it.
Okay.
So the aliens already exist because they're up there, but then we're saying that David's created the aliens, or has he recreated the aliens? It's just, but fundamentally what it does is it takes the universe out the expanse of the universe and just makes it small. Makes it small because we're all connected in the creation of one another. It's all surrounded around man.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that then about these murals, because I haven't noticed that, so I need to go back and have a look then.
Yeah, I think it's when they first go to the place and they see dead engineers and things like that, or the engineer. Like I said, it's been a long time, but you can find the photos of them. But there's these murals with looks like two alien heads, I believe, coming together.
Oh,
or
right.
something silly like that. But then,
This doesn't work in the context of Covenant, because obviously
no,
the deacon is created from the engineer,
yeah,
because it goes into the engineer, doesn't it? That squid thing, whatever it is,
yeah,
that goes into him. Um, and then obviously then it comes out as a deacon. But again, we don't know what happens to that deacon, do we? Does
no,
it
we
get
don't.
onto the ship that they go off in, David and
It's just the
again,
one
there's
them
a lot
plot.
of plot points that are,
Yeah.
you know, how did this? Yeah.
If I can find those images in Prometheus, I'll send them to you.
Okay. Yeah.
I know
That's
that
intriguing.
someone as a convoluted. I know that there was someone I watched a video on it who linked it all together
Right.
rather convolutedly and said that you've got to do this, you've got to do that, but it's all about your own theory, creating your own theory and believing these bits that are not part of the films to try and get it all connected and all this sort of stuff.
Right.
And that's why I say about David recreating the aliens, that the aliens were already in existence, and what he's done is not created the alien. He's essentially recreated the aliens from the black goo. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's all like and it's all that stuff. It starts getting convoluted and messes up.
Yeah.
Where it's like I said, it's far easier to just say, do you know what? Somewhere out there in the expanse of space, there's these creatures that exist.
Yeah. It's interesting as well that Ridley Scott, whilst not directing Romulus, has come back as a producer. So he
Yeah,
obviously realizes that, you know, where that prequel was going, well, Covenant. I'm sure he probably would have liked to have done a third film to wrap it all up, but because again, the ending of the film pretty
mm,
much shows David. Obviously, he's got those. Well, he's got the embryos, hasn't he, of the
that's
aliens?
right. Yeah, yeah,
You know, and he's going to take those back to Earth.
yeah.
But again, that doesn't work, because if he goes back to Earth, um, then surely the whole human race would get wiped out, and you
That's
wouldn't
it.
have had all Ripley and Wait, you know, all the rest of it happen. It just, yeah,
It's very yeah, for me. That's why I don't visit those films often. They just
yeah,
too many questions. I'm left with too many
yeah,
questions, no answers, and contradictions.
yeah. And I mean, obviously, don't give spoilers away, but I'm guessing this film has then left it open for a potential sequel, as do all films. Um,
Um, yeah,
there's got to be, because
there's
it's all about
a
money, isn't it?
plot element. There's a plot element that yeah, yeah. There's a
Yeah,
plot element that could be followed up on.
yeah,
Not necessarily, and again, it's like I said, this film, and no spoilers with it, but this film has got linkage to Prometheus.
yeah,
There's something that links it to Prometheus, and it's that element that's carried on at the end.
right,
So it's not necessarily you need the characters or anything like that, or surviving characters from this film to carry on. You don't. There's a plot element that in
okay.
existence that
I
could carry.
mean, if they, if they then follow on from this film, they could almost, as they've done with certain other things, they could say, right, Covenant is not canon at all. Prometheus happened, but then obviously this links into Prometheus in some way, and maybe they
You
go off in this direction. Don't know.
yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. Um, yeah, Prometheus is name dropped in the film.
Right.
That's not a spoiler, really. It's not a spoiler. The Prometheus project, that
Yeah.
is name dropped in the film. But I won't say what links. Obviously, I won't say what links the film, the two films.
No. No.
But it is name dropped. So those events did occur in the context of this film.
Yeah. But I mean, from you know, from what I'm hearing, it sounds
But
like
what it
this.
doesn't do, I will say, what it doesn't do is don't expect a linkage to Covenant. So it
No.
isn't like there's something a throwaway line that tells you what happened after Covenant or anything. Do you know what I mean?
This is what makes me think that will they in time, you know, it's probably, I was going to say, this one I think will be successful. So if it's going to make a lot of money, then they're going to probably look at doing another one, you know, to take it off in this timeline. And almost they'll be saying, well, actually, Covenant is not canon. So let's just ignore that one. Standalone film, you know. But like I say, if they've name dropped Prometheus, it still links to that film, which you have issues with. But
Yeah, but funnily enough, I didn't have issues with the Prometheus connection
okay,
too much. I didn't have it too much of an issue with the Prometheus connection. I was fine with it.
okay.
It's yeah. I mean, you know, you could wrap up Covenant in a future one, in that you find, you know, David's crashed spacecraft, the David android's destroyed, and there you go. What happened to David? Well, his ship crashed and he was destroyed, and there you go. Now you got some aliens there. Simple.
I think you would have to do that, because then taking them back to Earth, it just kind of will just wipe out the, you know, the human race, wouldn't it? And just undo everything that's happened before.
Yes. So you know, he
know.
never made it back to Earth anyway.
Yeah.
So, but that's simplistic explanation. His ship suffered catastrophic issues. It crashed. He's destroyed. Problem solved.
Yeah. yeah. So I thought I heard, I don't know whether this is still going to go ahead, but before Romulus was announced, I was under the impression that Ridley Scott wanted to develop an Alien series. Is that right?
That's
still
in the
going
works.
ahead?
Yeah,
that's still going ahead.
Yeah, with Noah Hawley. I think his name's Noah Hawley at the helm, who done the Fargo TV series and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
in the works. That's not far off, I don't think.
Right.
I think that'll be within the next year, possibly.
I think that's to do with Amazon, isn't it? Some sort of deal with Amazon Studios or whatever. Which again, yeah, I'm surprised at, because obviously Disney own the rights to it. So how Amazon's getting involved, I've no idea. But again, will that be a linkage to this film, Romulus, or is it going to be a standalone thing?
Well, there we go. Time will tell. I don't know. Watch this space.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm down to 10% now on this phone, just to make you aware.
Yes. Well, I was going to pretty much say, I think we'll wrap it up now, because I think we've covered all of the films, haven't we?
We have. I mean, there's no point we've talked a little bit about comic books. You know, I will say that obviously now Disney own the rights to Aliens and Predator, obviously, and we're about a week and a half away from the release of Aliens versus Avengers comic book, which I will be getting, obviously.
Yeah.
There have been just a quick, you know, Aliens in the comic book when Aliens was under Dark Horse. They did cross with DC, so you have had Aliens versus Superman. You've had Aliens versus Batman. You've had Aliens versus Green Lantern and Justice League. All this sort of stuff has happened in the comics.
Yeah.
And if anyone's asking about Superman, and well, you know, the story of that is Superman gets a call from Argo City, which is the home of Supergirl, which is off up in space floating somewhere. Yeah. And he leaves Earth to go there, and the city's been overrun by, they found aliens. And as he gets closer, because he's moving away from Earth's sun, he starts losing his powers.
Oh, okay.
So when he gets there, he's not actually Superman in the sense of I'm as strong as what I am on Earth. So
Right.
that's how they sort of weaken him for that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Just the quick aside. And as for games, I'm not a gamer, so I've not really played any Alien games or anything like that.
No, I know there's the Alien Isolation, which has been very popular, and I
Yes.
think there's talk of them wanting to do an Alien Isolations 2. So whether that will come to pass, I'm not sure. But yeah, like you, I'm not a big gamer anymore. Back
So
in the
that side of
day,
it, yeah, I can't really
you know,
talk.
no, but no,
But yeah,
no Alien, the Star Trek crossover then in the
not
comics.
Star Trek, no. There's been other, what is there? Now a lot of Predator crossovers with characters. Not so much Aliens.
No, I can't see Spock being able to do a mind meld with a xenomorph.
No.
Don't think it'd go down too well, would it?
Yeah, no, they've not done that.
No. Cool. Right.
There we go.
Yeah. Well, it's been a great chat. We've been going for just over 2 hours. I know I had the right little break there, but yeah, you managed to show a few little bits. Like I say, yeah, obviously, if you're new to my channel and you don't know of AJ, obviously go over to AJ's channel. He's got a great channel, so much content on there. We like very similar sort of tastes in films, sci-fi, action, all this sort of thing. And AJ's got a lot more collectibles. I do have this little one, which I'll just show.
Does it still scream?
Yeah.
I
Have
do
you
have
got
that. I've somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Got the little. I can't see the little mouth that comes out. Oh,
Yeah.
lost the camera there. Oh, there we
So
go. Yeah, that's my little collectible. But obviously, yeah, AJ's got loads of collectibles, and yeah, go and check out these Alien collection videos that he's just done the last couple of days. And yeah, stick down in the comments. Are you going to be going to see Alien Romulus? What do you think of the Alien films, prequels? Which is your favourite? What do you think of the Alien 4K transfer? I know that's quite controversial, but yeah, stick down in the comments. Anything Alien related, and yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the chat. And
also,
yes.
Also, I will say, if this podcast does well and people watch it, why don't we reunite for another talk about a franchise?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I know I've done a franchise chat with Chris, and we do plan to do Back to the Future. But I tell you what we could do together, which would be really good, would be the Indiana Jones franchise.
I was thinking Predator, Indiana Jones. Yeah, we can choose a franchise, and if anyone's got any ideas, what do you think would be a good franchise to discuss?
Yeah, I think a natural one on from this would be Predator, wouldn't it? Because obviously have touched. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we wouldn't have to talk about too much about AVP again because we've done it here, but we can go into the actual Predator films. That wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good to me.
We'll sort something out.
Excellent. Yeah. So yeah, if you could give us a thumbs up on this film, that really does help us. Pushes it out to others, so they can enjoy. And hope you all enjoyed the chat. Many thanks to AJ for joining me today on this. It's been a great discussion. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Got into a lot of detail. Yeah, superb.
And we'll see you all soon.
Yeah.
Take care.
Now.
See you later.
Bye.